Alrighty, what is going on, YouTube? This is Josh over here at American AF Dumps Rentals in Dallas. Another Wednesday, the first what is it? First Wednesday of the year, first live stream. Thank you guys for joining. If you guys can hear me all right, please make sure you put it in the comments below that you can hear me okay. I know my mic has been messing up a little bit. Tried to do some changes today. New little look to the live stream, so. Make sure you let me know your thoughts. Shout out to let me know where you're from, your name, where you're from, and where you're out of, what kind of business you're running. So I've got a good one today. We've been talking the last couple live streams a lot about networking, about what we're going to do in 2024 that is different than 2023. How are we going to improve our business at the end of the day, right? And that's super important, right? Like my goal is always to be better than I was yesterday, right? I mean, at the end of the day, like you want to be better than you were yesterday. You want to be better than you were last year. You want your company to do better than you did last year. A lot of people just say, "Oh, I want to do X amount of dollars," and I don't really think that's probably the best route to do it. I think it's a lot about like scaling your company, but scaling it like controllably and scaling it in the way that you can handle it when it grows. So, a lot that has a lot to do with obviously networking. My biggest goal for 2024, if you watched my video, lots of comments. You guys can hear me okay? Good, good, good. My goal going into 2024 is just to make sure that I'm networking a lot more. I'm going to be trying to go to as many networking events as I can. And obviously, the last video I talked a little bit about DRSCon. This is not a sales pitch. I'm not here to tell you you should go or you shouldn't go. I'm here to tell you that if you don't network, your business will suffer from it. In other words, right? At the end of the day, I think that you won't fail. I mean, obviously, you keep working hard, but you could do so much better if you networked. If you harness the power of networking locally as well as nationally. I mean, I don't do business in New York, but I got friends in New York in the industry. I've got friends in Wisconsin in the industry. I've got friends in California in the industry. And I may not do business there. It doesn't really put dollars in my pockets necessarily, but I can pick up the phone and call these guys at any time with any question that I may have, and they're going to answer me and they're going to give me honest feedback. So, um, anyways, with all that being said, again, don't forget to let me know who you are, where you're from in the comments. I really want to see that. And I've got a guest for you guys today. He's been on the channel before. I'm going to look back. It's probably been about 3 years when I first started. And I was going to do this beforehand, but when I first started the channel, I had him on as a guest when I first was doing the live streams. And here we are again, probably right about 3 years later. It is a good friend of mine, business associate, and a big name in the industry. I'm going to bring him on right now. 1 second.
No, you just got me motivated, man. The goal this year is contacts makes contracts.
Oh man. So I said, the whole power of networking, right? I mean, that's like legit. Am I right or wrong? I mean, literally the power to in the video earlier today, I talked about how like your network is your net worth, and that's not my quote, so I can't quote that myself. But that's all.
Sure.
That's all it is. Your network is your net worth. It's not all about like dollars in the bank at the end of the day, but sometimes your network, the people you associate with, are worth more to you and your business than actual even assets.
Yep.
Right around.
I'm a true believer too, man. You're an average of the company you keep. Just like the old saying goes, you surround yourself with 5 millionaires, you'll become the sixth. Um, I can say firsthand by having that mindset and constantly working on my network, it definitely has proved to my bottom line as well. I mean, there's a reason why you and I are talking today, as far as keeping relationship with multiple manufacturers, also keeping contacts with a lot of our key players that's using our current software, and hearing a lot of their ideas is how we come up with our feature set. So again, when you mention network is your net worth, I'm 100% a believer in that. I focus very heavily on that. I also focus on who I spend my time with, right? Your time is very valuable. I try to keep negative people to the side. I try to keep like-minded people with the same mindset, with the same drive, the same type of ambition. And a lot of those people who are in my inner circle are some of our customers, some people that on a first name basis. because you attended DRS Con and heard some of them speak. And with that being said, my big initiative this year is to do a lot of the same things and also do a better job, which I think I fell short in the last year or so because of our how fast we've been growing, this, that, the other, improving our processes, and more importantly, making sure we keep our ear to the ground and listen to our customers who are there each and every single day grinding. And when they grind and they tell us their pains and we can overcome some of those pains together, we all win. But that translates in every facet you're trying to do your business. Maybe you've got all your processes down, but maybe you're trying to work on networking with local contractors in your area, local builder associations. And what does that look like? What's your approach to make sure that those type of things come fruitful, and how would you approach it? So those are kind of things that I want to bring to the table when we drill down a little deeper. So
Yeah,
thanks
I
for
think
having me, Josh. Appreciate it.
no, for sure, man. Thanks for joining. I think that I think we're going to come up with some actual tips, right, for these guys to kind of like what they can literally do tomorrow to try and increase the revenue, increase phone calls a little bit later on in the in the video. But right now, like I remember when I first started my previous company, right? When I first started the company, I went to several chamber meetings. I went to a networking event. At the time, I was like literally under 30, and it was like business owners under 30. That was a long time ago, by the way. But but you
Yeah.
know, and I was the guy. Honestly, I was the guy that would go, but I kind of stayed in the back, and kind of like what I did in high school and all through school. Like I was the guy in the back of the bus, just kind of quiet to myself, and I'm a big introvert, right? And I struggle with that. I still to this day struggle with that incredibly. Like me being like on YouTube and all that other stuff. I'm an introvert. Like, what do you think people like myself can do, or do you think we can be successful in these kind of networking events if we have a hard time actually like going to people and shaking hands?
Absolutely. I just think to really get the full benefit of it, you got to come up with a plan, right? Just like the old saying goes, fail to plan, plan to fail. Have an action list. The action list is who can you identify is your customer base? Obviously, being the dumpster space, contractors, right? What type of events in your local market do contractors attend? You're going to notice some of them at the Chamber of Commerce meetings, like you mentioned. I made some really good contacts there as well. But there's also a lot of home builder associations. There's a lot of restoration type associations. There's local ones. And one that we should really talk about is Facebook groups. Like I was telling you earlier about how my buddy built his own local Facebook group called Combat Contractors, and how he and some of the people that he worked with are actually some of our customers here in the local Austin area. And all he did is build a place where past veterans can go and hire a contractor owned business, and contractor owned business owners can pass referrals. For example, the plumber just went out there, fix some busted pipes. Big freeze happened, a hailstorm happened, and now he's referring the roofer. By doing these things, my buddy increased his bottom line by 30%. And the only thing he can justify for it was building out his network by building out this community for combat contractors locally here in Austin. And I know Ricky Hickey, a good friend of both of ours, who up in Midland, Odessa area, has done some of the very similar things, right? But there's physical ways to build relationships, and there's also digital ways. And I think to see a lot of success, you need to focus on both. And anywhere that you can physically be somewhere and shake someone's hand and let them know the type of person you are, and goes a long way, right? Because a lot of these guys, they're not doing these things, and they're not taking advantage of relationship building. And the the highlight, the importance of these things, all it takes is literally one good contact, two or three contact that can really increase and change the way you do business moving forward. For example, Ricky Hickey landed a referral where now he had to order, I think, 20, 30 cans just for that one customer base. And he's done this multiple times. And he did that because he got outside his comfort zone and he networked.
Right.
You just got to muscle through it.
Ricky Hickey's a real big proponent of getting out there, shaking hands, like he says, shaking hands. What's it? Kissing babies, shaking hands, or something like
Yep.
that. He's a big guerrilla marketing type of guy. I would be surprised if more than 20% of Ricky's business comes from like online. I think all of it comes from either old school marketing, who you know in his area, and his cans kind of being all over the place marketing his business. But um, going back though, so
Couldn't.
we're talking about physical networking. We're talking about actual like chamber of commerce meetings, which again, that's kind of old school, but still work because there's still lots of contractors there. What I realized over time was when I'm uncomfortable being there, so is everybody else for the most part. Nobody really wants to be there. We're there because we're all there for the same reason, and we want to see our business succeed, and we want to see
Yeah.
like we want to make business contacts. So once you realize that everybody is kind of there for the same reason, it makes it easier, at least for me, to like go up to somebody and be like, "Hey, my name is Josh. I'm with American AF Dumpsters. I provide dumpster service. What do you do?" And listening to other people is really important too because a lot of times people like to talk about themselves. So at the end of the day, like you just let them talk, you listen, and if there's any way you can help them help their business succeed, they're all for it, right? That's what I found
Give
out.
more, yep. Give more than you take. There's a reason why God gave us two of these and one of these.
Right.
And we should be more listening than we should be talking, but we should also make sure that we give just as many tidbits as they're willing to share with us. Even if we don't win, it doesn't matter. That guy later down the road, he's going to remember your name, especially if you made a good lasting impression. Not to mention, even if he's not your ideal audience, good chance he's going to know or her of someone who is your ideal audience. And if you make the right, you know, up up front, good impression right off the bat, it's going to go a long way for you for later down the road. And you're going to get a lot of repeat business off of one person just because you might have gave them a tip, a tidbit. It could be a marketing thing. It could be something to avoid, something that you might experience in a past company that has no relation to your industry, but anyone that you can refer back over to them is going to be leave a lasting impression. For example, maybe you have a very great marketer and this guy is having a marketing issue, even though he's not in the same industry as you can pass on that referral. And as long as you feel very confident about it, he's going to remember that and he's going to do the same for you later down the road. I mean, I
Exactly.
can tell you about so many scenarios that have landed me business just because I was an extrovert. I did put myself out there and I made it a point to learn about the people that I wanted to do business with.
Well, and it creates I wouldn't say loyalty, but it almost creates like a need for them to pay you back, right? And not money wise,
Yeah,
but pay you back in the lead. So or a referral type
good
thing.
old boy system.
Was it?
Good old boy system is what we
Right.
call in Texas.
Right, right, right,
Yeah.
right, right, right. Let's go. Just a couple shout outs real quick. We've got who is it? Reeby Racing. What's going on? Jared Duffy, John Fontaine, Andrew. Thanks for joining, guys. Lone Star Collectibles. I got a couple more, but so industry events. Okay, obviously, let's hit the elephant in the room, right? You've got an industry event at the end of this month. Again, it's not a sales pitch. I'm not here to try to pitch anybody. If they want to go, they go. But what I did say was I go based on experience. I went last year. I talk in this channel based on experience. I went last year to your DRS Con, and because of that, okay, because I went there, it was uncomfortable for me to believe me. It was uncomfortable for me. I don't. Again, those kind of events for me is really hard, especially like small groups like that, or individual groups. But we went. I went with my wife. We had a good time. We learned a lot. We learned a lot of your speakers that you had there, and not only did I learn stuff, but I walked away with stuff that was more valuable to me than your products, than anything I could have learned, and that was like relationships. At the end of the day, and I'm not bullshitting. This is not a sales pitch. I promise you guys. But I literally can pick up the phone and I can call several guys from that event that I connected with, that I had a one-on-one relationship with, that I know that we're like-minded, that all we want to do, we're like business focused, we are growth focused. Um, yeah, and some of these guys might be watching the channel right now, and some of the guys I can literally pick up the phone and call them and say, "Hey, what are you doing? How was your week?" And we can just talk business for an hour or two, and that's based on your event. So several events are kind of like that, but again, your event, because It wasn't like a huge expo. It wasn't like, hundreds or thousands of people like different limo conventions I've been to. Um, you can really connect at your event. So you have an event at the end of the month. You want to talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's really a great event, especially for those who are currently using our platform and they're looking for the extra tidbits, the extra tender love and care on learning the things that maybe they were not aware of. We typically release around 200 new features. I'm not saying we do the best job of announcing all those features. So you're going to kind of find different ways how other people use it and how they leverage it to grow, scale their company, and more importantly, streamline. What I found being the most powerful thing, just like you, is learning from some of the top people in the industry, some people who've brute forced and grew their company from, for example, you mentioned Tony Elmore. I think when he came with us, he had 3 cans, and I think now he's pacing to do roughly around 3 million, is what he shared with me this year. And he's also starting to do some acquisitions, and that's very, very powerful. And to hear from someone started from doing the tree service business to get into waste management, now getting it into residential trash and possibly even front end loaders. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that's a great success story, right? Something that you wouldn't really have insight otherwise unless you've had those deep conversations. What I find personally being very powerful is and rewarding to me, right? I'm gonna be a little selfish here. Is we did a number of cold calls where we cold call contractors, and we're talking about networking. This is networking, right? Talked about how to scrape a database, how to find your ideal market, and what that customer base is. Even if you're only pushing 20-yard cans or 15-yard cans, or maybe you're looking for that long-term customer for 30, 40-yard cans, and you can really grow it through a um, contract scalability by locking down long-term customers. Well, just cold calling and learning how to put your foot in the door with a few simple lines and taking the next steps and what the process is. People have reported back after having that, not even being an expert, ever being on the phone before, that they've seen a lot of success and it's really changed their business and really impacted their bottom line. So there's multiple things. Hearing, for example, Ricky Hickey, which will be here again this year, talking about going to job sites, handing out breakfast tacos, donuts, finding out who the decision maker is, knowing when to follow up, right? Doing simple things like the end of the year and sending out Merry Christmas cards, staying top of mind, showing people that you're more than just a vendor. You actually are there for the long term, the long haul, and build a relationship with them. It makes for a much stickier customer. And a couple of tidbits and tricks that literally cost you next to nothing other than a little bit of your time. So that's what I think it's really about at the end of the day. But not to mention, you can take advantage of getting better at the system as a whole. But just like you said, it's more about networking than anything else, and that's the most rewarding. I think if you're going to attend, you're a customer. Go there for networking. That's what's going to be the most powerful. That's where you're going to grow, and anything else you can get from it just an added plus. Networking is hands down number one.
So explain to me the success or why an annual event? Why, where did that come from? Why are we going from Austin to Nashville, and where is it going to be next year? If you want to, if you know, is it going to constantly? Is it moving all the time? Are we going to Vegas sometime? I mean, what exactly do you go from different areas to try to accommodate to people in different parts of the country, or is it just? Explain to me a little bit about that because I'm curious.
I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. We have a lot of customers on the East Coast. We did it in Texas last year. So that's part of it. Also, part of it is my business partner happens to love Nashville and thought it'd be a very fun area. So that's probably a big part of it. Next year, I see it happening back in Texas, to be honest with you. Logistically, it makes things a whole lot easier. And not to mention, I want it to be longer than 3 days next time. And I also want to open it up to a lot more vendors that can show up and use a different area. And having local contacts, we can definitely pivot a lot easier for that next time and keep it way more affordable. So
Gotcha.
it's a little selfishness and a little more feasibility at the same time.
All right. So you talked a little bit about anybody who is watching this live stream before. You wanted to offer them a little bit of discount if they mention American AF or a coupon code. Did you want to talk about that as well?
Yeah, say if you're interested, you're a current customer and you want to attend, we'll keep it simple. Just say AF 150 off, and we'll make sure we take $150 off if you decide to come to this event.
Is this an event now? Okay, here's another question I'm curious. Is this an event just for DRS customers? Are you open to anybody, or is it just DRS customers?
It's open for just DRS customers, but anyone else who's on the fence and they just want to come in and see what we do, I'm totally on board for that as well. At the end of the day, it's not for making money for us. It's about really um, coming up with a good customer base, a good group of guys that we can lean on and more importantly learn from ourselves. And we also take advantage of it and like to hear more about their pains in these meetings and conventions. We have our developers come in and we literally sometimes make new features right there on the fly. For example, Tony came up with some great ideas. We made 2 or 3 features right there on the fly, and now we did it site wide and execute it. So also during that DRS Con, we're going to release a really big feature that a lot of people have been asking for a long time. So very excited about that announcement. But we do it in a selfish way as well, where we listen to some of our top guys who are normally the ones that show up. But we also have some guys who are just now getting in the industry and they're looking to scale very quickly. So it really depends what your mindset is. But if you're looking to scale, grow, and learn from others, this is definitely for you. If you're looking to come up with ideas and share it with our team and see what we can do for you on the fly, this is definitely for you. If you're just looking to learn the software, we just released the e-learning tool that automates that. And we've had a 90% onboarding success rate and really turned a new leaf with that. Save your money, stay home. This is for people who are looking to grow and scale.
Gotcha. All right.
Networks. Yeah.
So what can we do? So you talked earlier about online groups. Okay, there's an online group here in my area. It's called the DFW Contractors Group. As you can imagine, there's probably
Yeah.
30,000 people on there in that group, and everybody's referring to everybody. It's almost like um, it's almost like like you said earlier, kind of like a popularity contest or a good old boys
Yeah.
network. I'm not a part of that. I'm not. I don't throw my hat in the ring every single time. I mean, literally
Yeah.
multiple times a day, someone asks for a dumpster, and there's probably 60 comments or 70 comments of people who, I've got this, I've got that, and provide a dumpster. What can I do in my area besides, throwing my hat in the ring every single time? Would you suggest me starting my own smaller, more niche group, or I mean, what do you think, man?
Absolutely. For example, my buddy started a combat contractor group, right? It's for veteran contractors who own businesses, and both is for people who want to hire veterans. Either you are a veteran yourself, or maybe you just feel like you owe it to those people to really give them the opportunity, a shot at your business. And me personally, that's who I go to in the Austin area when I'm hiring a contractor, right? I respect those people, right? So I also know people who started Christian contractor groups. Ricky Hickey started his own miscellaneous group similar to the one that you have that's very similar, right? So therefore, when you are the admin or the moderator or whatnot, you obviously have more influence there. Your information gets seen a whole lot more. But don't think that you can just create a group and be successful. You got to put really good content out there, just like you're doing now, Josh. Just like what we're working on right now. You got to put good content. More importantly, you got to give more than what you take,
Right.
right? And if you're in it for the wrong reasons, people are going to see right through your group and they're not going to be bought in. They're going to go through the other group in Dallas that's doing a much better job. But yeah, that one sounds like, you know, people just chasing pennies. That's not what I meant by that. You need to build your own network, right? Don't jump into another network that you don't believe in and you have no voice in. You need to be the voice. You need to be part of the conversation.
That's a good idea, man. To be honest with you, because like I said, I mean, it's overwhelming the number of people that comment on groups like that. But to create a more niche, a more focused group based on something that I know or something that is personal to me is huge. I mean, it could make the difference. That could really, I don't know. I got a couple comments here. CJ's Dumpsters, what's going on, man? Lone Star Collectibles, hey Josh, Brian, here, met you at the November Texas event and live in Dallas locally. So I started a networking group, my own group. Like I mentioned this earlier, but I'm gonna dive a little deeper into this. A group of guys locally that all do dumpsters. But now I'm kind of opening up because I got reached out by another guy who does equipment rentals, who wants to join the group. It's groups like that. Um, that we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like groups like that we're talking about, whether in person, once a month lunches or coffee, online, digital. You mentioned earlier, what is it called? What's that neighbor? What's that app? Uh,
Next door
Nextdoor.
app.
Nextdoor. Talk
Yep.
a little bit on
Yep.
that too, man. Nextdoor is a good app.
Yep. Yep.
Um, never. It's a literally subdivision app, right? You can literally have your either subdivision or your immediate area where you talk to literally your neighbors. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. And you can post ads. They'll know how far away you are. And, some people just want to keep it local. They also feel like there's a whole nother level of accountability when you're working with someone in your backyard, especially on a social media platform.
Yep.
So it definitely has its value, but it also has its negatives. You definitely want to focus on customer service when you're getting business in that facet. You know what
Yep.
I mean?
Use what you know at the end of the day, right? Like use what you know. There's a guy in Florida. Not, Joe's here too. What's going on, Joe? He might know. I forget his name. I apologize, but met him at the event where he's like 20 or under 20, and he's running 30 plus cans and two trucks full time. And it's like he posted a video just the other day of how he's young but he's motivated. He's hungry, and it was like a professionally done video, really nice, and how he's 20 years old, but he's out there getting it. And I mean, he uses that to his advantage, right? You can even use things like that. So, um, I don't know. There's just so many things that you can really use to your advantage to kind of like separate yourself from the pack, to make you more valuable, or to make somebody want to use you. When you talk about Christian-based services, that's huge here in Texas, right? I mean, and at the end of the day, like you got these mega churches. If you're a member of these churches, a board member, whatever. I'm not saying go to church just for business because that's probably the wrong way to do it. But I
Yeah.
mean, if you're already there, you can use your resources, use your network. That's all that is part of your network.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Not only that, I mean, if you just really know who your market is, like you guys are nations, right? Like Restorations Associations of Austin, Home Builder Associations of Austin, Remodeling Contractor Associations of Austin, and just start putting and compile all that information on a Google Doc sheet, right? And then find out who the key decision makers are to those group. How do you become a part of that group? How do you get that database, that contact information? And what is your plan to do with that contact information? Maybe you can take it, cross pollinate it with the email marketing campaign about another group that you started, and you're looking for like minded people, this, that, the other. Um, Cross pollinate that into Facebook, maybe even cross pollinate that on LinkedIn. There's more than just Facebook. There's multiple different social media outlets that you can use. Then eventually, maybe you can have your own in-person event and networking event, just like you did, just like what I did, and you can really have a good plan to execute, and good plan of attack to grow your company that way as well.
Well, all those
But
groups that you mentioned, though, all those groups that you mentioned have their own events as well. Like the restoration, like local associations, Dallas
yeah,
Restoration Association, or what is it, Fire, Flood. All those type of companies have their own little groups or meetings as well. So
but
it'd be
you'll be
good to get
so
there.
surprised. I'm sorry, Josh, to cut you off. Go
No
ahead.
good.
I was going to say, you'd just be so surprised on how many of those guys will help champion you, especially if you bring something good to the table. Like you go to your local home builder association and you say, "Hey, I really want to work with contractors in your group that are veterans because I got my own idea and I'm very passionate about it." And if they see that you're truly passionate and you truly care, you're doing it for all the right reasons, they will help champion and promote that with you, right?
Right.
It's again, at the end of the day, it's all about networking. And same thing correlates with Christians. I mean, hell, if you're Muslim, Muslims do it. Everyone does it, right?
Mhm.
Like maybe you're even super niche and you do it within Catholics. I don't know, but there's a lot of business out there to be had, and people want to work with like-minded people. They also want to work with people with common interests. It could be religion, it could be sports, it could be the construction industry as a whole, whatever that might be. And maybe it's just a bunch of entrepreneurs in there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
But it's also about branding, right? Like I've talked about this recently too, but it's about creating the brand so that people know that you're the expert in your industry. You know what I'm saying? Like how do I say this? Like your brand, you should wear it, you should be it, you should see it. I mean, everybody should know that you're a dumpster guy, right? If that's your business, if you're junk removal, everybody should know that you do junk removal. Like literally, I have gotten business from parents on my kids' soccer team because they've seen me drive my truck to a soccer practice. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just every opportunity you can. Now, if you're acting the fool and you're driving like an idiot, or you're driving a, saying some whatever it is, beat down, whatever, maybe you shouldn't. But you should always stay professional. You should always represent your brand. You should always represent your business, because you never know who's watching. It could be a major project manager for a roofing company. It could be a major construction project manager. It could be a city inspector who refers your services to. You never know who could be watching you. So you gotta always eat, sleep, talk, breathe your brand at the end of the day.
Have you ever met my remember I introduced you to my buddy David, the guy that does valet trash for apartment complex, and now he's doing residential trash and front end loaders.
Correct.
That guy is the epitome of branding. He starts with himself, then he starts with his company secondly.
Mm,
Reminds me a lot of you, actually. He always wears shirts that says "Let's talk trash,"
mm,
right? And he'll just walk into an apartment complex, no meeting schedule whatsoever, show up with some donuts, show up with a little pamphlet, and just talks the talk and walks in there with 100% confidence, knowing he's going to be shot out 9 out of 10 times, maybe more. But all it takes is one contact for it all to make sense.
right.
So you just got to get outside your comfort zone. No one's comfortable doing this stuff right off the bat.
Right.
But I mean, you said that you're an introvert. I don't really believe that. I think you're really good, but at the same time, who knows? Maybe you take medication for it. I don't know. Right?
Definitely not
I'm
making.
definitely the opposite. I'm an extrovert. My wife says I talk way too much, and I think it has its pros and cons. Sometimes it's mainly not about business, but I can just strike up a conversation with anyone about anything. Like some guy can walk by with a San Francisco shirt, and I'll say, "It's a really ugly shirt you have, man, but I like your work boots. What do you do?"
Mhm.
I'm just random like that, right? It depends on where you're at and what the atmosphere is like. But anywho, that's all it takes is what it takes to just strike a conversation in a random event with a random person. You just got to look for those attributes and definitely execute on them.
Well, intent is what it's all about, right? Because you shouldn't really make connections or talk to people randomly like that with the intent of what am I going to get out of it. It should really be
Yeah,
more about like what can I offer you, or what can I do to make your day better, right? At the end of the day, like it's all about like what your reasoning is behind it. At the end of the day, so that's the way I look at it.
a lot of
Uh,
question marks. Learn about them. People love to talk up themselves,
mhm,
right? And then you'll find your entry point on where to take the conversation if it makes sense. And if it doesn't, you just met a new friend either way.
for sure. So we got Maxco on the channel. What is going on, Joe? Glad you're here, man. Open Container, Indiana in the house. What is going on there, man? Frankie Sanchez says, "I'm a true greenhorn." What does it say here? I took a leap and got me 3 12 yarders. What would be a good rate so I don't ruin the business underpricing? What? I bet you get this question all the time, right? Like I'm sure you guys get that question all the time. How much should I charge, especially the new guys? I'm curious to know what your answer to that is, because it's so across the board. It's
I
kind
got
of
to answer right off the bat.
what's that?
I would never take anyone's opinion on a Facebook group, especially if they're not in my market.
Mm-hmm.
I would go to Google. I will call the first 10 people on the front page of Google, find out where their pricing is, and try to be somewhere in the middle of the pack. I would also try to find out what their tonnage is and be somewhere in the middle of the pack. once you've booked all your cans, Frankie, and you notice that you have more demand than you do cans, then that gives you the right to go up in your price. I hope that makes sense. But do your research, do your due diligence, and anyone that's looking to get in the industry, I highly recommend you do this before you ever buy a can, right? So I hope that shines some light.
Is calling your competitors, because at the end of the day, right? Like my price is not going to be the same as, let's say, Waste Management. I mean, they have a lot more overhead than I do, but they also have a lot more resources than I do. Um, I think it's just a hard question because everybody's got different expenses. Everybody's running different things. It's, a trailer guy is not going to be the same as a big roll off guy. I think what I always say is that I agree with you. I did the same thing though. I had a price list of all my competitors, and I kind of looked at, you got to know what your competitors are doing. But then again, like you also got to know your own numbers. You got to know your own, like, what is it going to cost you to run that can? How much does it cost you in fuel on average? What kind of truck are you running? Um, like you said, what are your
Yep.
landfill fees? That's obviously a big one. But make sure a lot of the guys, especially when they're first starting out, they're not running uh, business insurance. But you should, what I'm saying, and you should definitely price it that way. I don't know. It's just a hard question. I get that all the time, but
Well,
um,
also everyone's at every different point in a business, right? Like
right.
Frankie here's brand new. He can
Hmm.
afford to probably not charge as much of a delivery fee as, for example, Tony Elmore, who has 4 drivers and he needs to start charging delivery fees or he's going to start losing out of his ass because his profit margins might be 20-30% when Frankie right now he's probably seeing a 50-60% profit margin because he's wearing every hat in his company. He doesn't have that office lady yet.
Hmm.
But again, once you feel like you're starting to see that availability, you're starting seeing that booking. Last thing you want is those cans just sitting in the yard not making you no money.
Right.
Some money's better than nothing, in my opinion, right? But then you're 100% right. I will constantly trying to push the price so I can scale, grow, and find out what that threshold on when I start seeing more cans in the yard. But I'm assuming at this point he's probably not there. Frankie, one thing I could say is if you have 12-yard cans, I would pick up the phone and call every small remodeling contractor, bathroom remodeling contractor. You'll be so surprised on how many people are just willing to give you a shot. Ask them for a price or match guarantee that you'll beat any price by 12-year-old can by up to 5%. Um, but and know your pricing going in there. That way you can just get stuff out the door right away. Then from there, you should start going up in your pricing for sure.
Hmm.
Hope that helps you.
What is up, High Speed? Appreciate you being here, man. Daniel, the dumpster helper, good dude. Daniel went to your DRS con. I believe he's going to be coming to Nashville as well. So kind of excited to see him again. He's a good dude. Remember him?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. What's going on, Daniel?
Let's say DRS Con. Yes, sir. So I've got the link below if you need the link for DRS Con. So, Jeremy, remind people. So we talked a little bit about it when you were on the channel last, but again, it's been a couple of years. Could you just let everybody know, like, if they don't know who you are or exactly like what your company is, or they
Sure.
should, but there's some guys out there who might not.
So yeah, I'm the founder of Dumpster Rental Systems. We're the first company to do this true online booking with inventory management, asset tracking. Keep your credit card on file for overages. Do custom pricing by customer, custom tonnage by price by customer, custom travel fees, zip code miles, or even based. We can even enter price based on your availability. If 90% of your inventory is out, we do contractor-based pricing. We also do residential homeowner-based pricing, and we build you a beautiful website from the ground up. That's all integrated. One bill, one company, one solution. And with that being said, started this company out of my horse barn during COVID, and in the matter of 3 years, I believe we're the fastest growing, most likely the largest company at this point in the waste management space. Um, and we and we're now working on hiring employee 102, 103 this year. So we are growing, expanding, and there's multiple sides to our company. Not only do we provide software, but we also do web development. We also do search engine optimization, Google AdWords, Facebook targeting, Facebook retargeting, text message automation, and also email automation. So, anywho, we're growing and expanding, and we're just happy to be successful with so many other great companies out there as well.
Maxco says everybody's in the chat. Smash that like button. So make sure you listen to Joey. But listen, he says the guy's name is Joey from St. Pete Hauling. I'm not sure if he's a DRS customer, but real good kid. That's the one I was talking about earlier. Under 21, I could say under
I need
20.
to check out that video. That's inspiring.
Yeah, it's a cool video. Yeah, I'll send it to you.
I met a kid the other day that was, and I don't mean to call Joey a kid, but I'm 40. I have no hair, so I think I earned the right. But
Yeah.
I have another customer, a good friend, who's 23 years old. He already owns 30 doors.
Mm.
He's been working for himself since he was 16 or 17. He started in the party rental space, and now he also has, man, I forgot. He bought a couple hundred porta potties,
Mm.
and he's killing it. Just it's awesome seeing people like that. And I mean, these guys don't even have time to go to college. Not that college really matters, in my opinion, but they just get it right. That I mean, the internet just gives you all the tool sets. I mean, every skill set that you need to learn and you want to master, you can learn it in a book. You can learn it on the internet. You can learn it on YouTube, and it's amazing seeing those people grow.
No,
Just
for sure,
listen.
man. There's so much more targeted information out there right now than ever before. If you can't make money one way or the other, it just might be you at the end of the day, right? Like I hate to be honest, but there's just a lot of different ways to make money. Um,
Yeah.
some things may work for you and some don't, but it also depends on your area, I guess too. I get that, but
How many hours you think you spent getting your business off the ground when you first started out? It don't have to be dumpsters. It could be your limo company. I'm just curious.
oh man, I couldn't even put a number to it, to be honest with you. Like I know I was running 20, I would say 16 to 20 hour days sometimes. Like I was literally up to like 3, 4 in the morning, and for me that's super late, right? I go to bed at 9, but I was up to like 3, 4 in the morning, looking at my competition, looking at their different websites, looking at what makes them different than others. I remember like hardly getting any sleep because there were days where I wasn't sure if we would be able to make it the following month, right? Pay our own drivers or pay off the cars that we had. I mean, we struggled at several points
Yeah.
in business, and it's even worse, right? When you have other mouths to feed, right? When you have employees that you've got to pay for, and they're counting on that check, right? So it's like, man, I had no choice but to be successful. So if that meant 20-hour days, and I would go to sleep, be up first thing in the morning working on that company and growing it even more, then that's what I did, and that's the only reason why we made it to where we did or grew to the size that we did, and ultimately we're able to sell it. But it was a
Yeah.
lot.
And I like when I told you I started my business in COVID, right? I had a very successful event company, one of the largest in Austin. Uh, Me and my wife, we had to sell it. State of Texas told us we couldn't do business. I just took out a loan and I paid for $100,000 worth of new equipment, and my back was against the wall. We just started DRS. I just bought dumpsters. I started my own dumpster rental company, and I've learned that some of the best things I've ever done and where my strongest attributes are is just having my big back against the wall. There is no choice but to be successful. And I think to start up a business, you got to have that mindset right outside the gate, or you're already set to fail unless you have a ridiculous amount of income and an amazing education or been in the industry already before in the past, just had a different facet. So it's great to hear that because that's my same experience as well. Now I feel like being as seasoned as you and I both are, that if push comes to shove, we're going to be successful no matter what because that's just our mindset.
All right, I mean, what does it say? What's it saying? Come hell, wind or fire, like you've got to keep moving forward, right? At the end of the day, so um, and I
And
think
that's
that's
why
what a
you're
lot of
in my
people.
network.
I'll say again.
I said, and that's exactly why you are in my network. I like
Right.
being with people who I like networking with people with like-minded people. Bottom
No,
line, it only makes sense.
there's guys, and some of them are right here on the chat, right? I've talked to Joe recently a lot lately, and a couple other guys. We were just live last week, but I mean, literally, it's to this day, right? I'm almost even this business, right? At the end of the day, any business, but it's like business from the time you wake up until you almost to the time you go to sleep. Like you're always kind of, mind's always kind of working, right? How can I be better? What can I do different? What can I do to get more sales this month? Where should I be at? What are my goals for this month or this year? That's something that obviously at the end of the year we all think about, but it shouldn't be just at the end of the year. Like I have weekly goals for my business. I always have for the last 10 years. I learned this in an inner circle group in my previous business, right, in the limo industry. But I literally looked back when I first started my this report. I made a report in an Excel spreadsheet, and I looked back 4 years beforehand. Right, I looked back every single week of the year, and I looked at the three top numbers. I looked at total revenue, I looked at number of bookings, and I looked at I think it was average rental. It was average rental per average rental. I looked at those three numbers. Those were my KPIs, right? And I would say, huh?
Got to track EBITDA.
Well, EBITDA, but this was different, right? EBITDA is my
Yeah.
accountant. I don't. I'm not really good with numbers. I can pull up a report on my software, and I can say based on I know total revenue ain't shit really at the end of the day, but I know that was an easy target that I can calculate if that makes sense
Yeah.
through my software. Um, so every single week, and that gave me the ups and flows of the business. I knew that I was going to have a slow week 2 weeks in advance or 3 weeks in advance. I
Yep.
knew when it was going to be slow. I knew why it was slow. I knew that usually at the end of the school year it slowed down. I knew all that kind of stuff. So it helped me prepare for future. Right, I could get more drivers on. I could get more equipment. I could get more supplies, things like that. So, but I also use those numbers to give myself weekly goals. If I wanted to
Yeah.
grow by a certain percentage, if I wanted to grow by a certain profit margins, if I wanted to do any of that stuff, it was based on numbers and based on previous history. Um, so we're talking about goals, but it's not just because it's the beginning of the year. You should always like set your goals, in my opinion, right? I mean, we should always have goals that we have to constantly work on, whether it be weekly, monthly, or quarterly, right? In my opinion.
Yeah. To me, when any business, right? Even for dumpsters, when I bought cans on the ground, I didn't have any internet presence. That did come, but it came later. But I did a revenue walk, right? I knew how many cans I had. I knew how many times I wanted to turn them. I already did my due diligence. I did my research. I knew what my competitors were charging. I want to be somewhere in there. But more importantly, I wanted to make a plan based on my assets and what I had right now that could turn those cans and let me hit the ground running. So, with that being said, I pounded out a list of people to call, local people in the area, people who are close to my yard that I saw did a lot of marketing in the local areas that I wanted to work in,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that I can keep my mile radius short. I can make sure that my nuts constantly covered and I'm keeping my costs down because we're constantly trying to beat fuel costs and everything else. And also knowing that who my ideal audience was at the time, because I started off with 20-yard cans, was just small remodeling contractors doing renovations. And by doing so, I mean I had all my cans booked. I went from what was it? I want to say we started off with 6, then we went to 13, then we went to 20, and I did a quarter million my very first year. And I think it took us about 3 months to get insurance, wait for our cans to come in, wait for my trailer to get done. I started with the Dodge 3500, similar story to everyone else, but I had a plan in place, right? And anyone doing this could do that right now. For example, Frankie, who just started out, that's exactly what you should be doing right now, Frankie. And if you have a lot of these questions, you're in Josh's group, ask all the right questions. But when you ask those questions, make sure you're looking at those people's profiles, seeing what they're doing. Those answers come from a good place. Not saying that they all don't. A lot of them have great ones, but some are just learning like you. The guys that I would pay a lot of attention to are people like Josh who have invested in that $250,000 truck. They got those 30, 40-yard cans. They also have the 20s just like you, knowing that everyone had to start somewhere, but really pay attention. And more importantly, spend your time with people that bring a lot of value to you. Right.
So everybody
So
has a network. Instantly, everybody has a network, right? One way or the other. Like
Yeah.
literally, your phone, your contacts right on your phone, your family, your friends. That's your immediate network. If you're first starting out, your network is the people that you dealt with. All they don't have to be in the industry. Um, your Facebook group. If you don't have everybody's got a Facebook group. You've got a network. It's just time to utilize it. It's time to put them to work. Text message everybody and their mom and let them know that you're in the business. You're now new in the business. You got three new 12-yard dumpsters that you're looking to get to work. Whether it be garage cleanouts, it's going to be pretty. I wouldn't say easy. It's going to probably be easier for you to start doing residential stuff before you get it's a little bit more difficult to get contractors, in my opinion, unless I mean, obviously you got to do phone calls like Jeremy was talking about, but
So yeah, one thing that's really good, guys. I'm sorry, Josh, if I looked
go
like
for
I
it.
wasn't paying attention. I was. This book right here, $100 million leads.
Yeah,
You can. I've read it. I've listened to it 3 or 4 times. They write it at a 10th grade level. Good thing. I graduated high school at 19 and a half. I wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed, but really it's because I wanted to get out and work and I dropped out for a year. But long
sure.
story short, guys, this book right here talks about this network, $100 million leads. Follow that guy, see what he does for networking, and it will blow your mind. It really will. Like,
Hmm.
that book has really inspired me to do a lot of really cool things this year that I'll share with you later. But anyway, if you really are passionate about networking and you really need a blueprint on what that looks like, check out $100 million leads.
Right. Yep.
Anyone can listen into their truck while they're delivering cans. It's an audio book, and a lot of it's common sense. But at the end of the day, common sense isn't common, and some people just need a little bit of direction. Consider this your direction.
Sure. I think he talks in there. I mean, obviously I've read it. Talks a lot about your immediate network too, your immediate phone calls, your family, your friends. How one can turn into four, can turn into 10, and
Absolutely.
it just snowballs that way. But definitely awesome book. Young Jeezy says, "How can I tackle competition?" What do you think, Jamie?
Uh, I don't know where you're at in the place, but I wouldn't worry about competition. I'll just worry about yourself and what it takes to get your name out there.
Bingo.
Focus on networking, and you want competition always be in your rear view, right?
Bingo. Bingo. Yeah, man,
Yep.
it's that simple, really. People get stuck up in the details sometimes and focus on themselves.
Yep.
Daniel says he can't wait for Nashville. Let's go. So, I mean, where are we going? What are we doing? Are we? I mean, obviously, it's going to be a 3 day event. The 31st, first and the second. 31st is kind of
Yep.
optional. We're going to do what, like a 6 8 hour day at the conference center at the
It's
hall.
typically a full 8 hours. By the time these events are over, I can barely talk. So, you
You
know,
don't need to
uh,
talk. You just need to have a couple drinks afterwards. Then
well, I'm pretty good at doing that. We definitely did that last time. I don't think you attended so much because I think you were pretty spent, and so was I. But it seemed like everyone else wanted to go out. That's the benefits of bringing the wife. They can keep you down so you have an excuse to go to bed early. But yeah, again, this event's going to be great, especially those who are looking to learn from peers. People want to hear success stories of how they started out. There's a lot of guys that are going to show up and mention how they started out with very small means and how they've scaled. Some words even in the hundreds of cans now, who might even started out with 6 or 7. There's a lot of these stories. Josh is starting to become one of these same success stories, and at the end of the day, just hearing out their experience and how they got through it and what they did to scale and what pitfalls to avoid and what best practices to follow. And you can learn from a lot of other people's mistakes. And, just hearing one story alone could potentially save you money and help increase more money back into increase more revenue back to your bottom line. So that's what it's all about. Like, we're going to talk about cold calling. We're going to talk about networking, how to build and manage a proper pipeline, the benefits of putting customers under contract, especially for those who are doing larger cans. How do you get into that? So, there's a lot to cover, and a lot of these conversations just are organic and they happen through guest speakers and they just happen with people through roundtables where we go over our experiences and things that we want to improve on and we just talk them through.
that's where the value's at, right? Like I literally
Yeah.
went to Tampa the other day for Joe's Tampa Bay Runners event a couple months ago now, but The event was awesome. We went out there, we saw trucks, we saw trailers, we saw equipment, but the round table that we all did after that, just kind of like we all just ended up literally at a round table, just kind of like it started out with two of us, and then all of a sudden it turned into four, turned into eight, and then like 10 guys at the end of the day were just sitting there talking and just talking business, and so much comes out of just again like-minded individuals talking about the same type of business or how we each succeed non-competitively. That's super important because I don't know, man. Like even in my own area, we sit down with five, six, seven, 8 guys for lunch in our little networking group, and we're not there to like. No one's there to screw over the other or charge less than the other or steal each other's customers. We're all there to literally help each other one way or the other. So I don't know, man. It's just this year. Like I said, my goal is to network a lot more. Going to your event at the end of this month. Waste Expo is on May 7th through the 9th or 6th through the 9th, and I'm going to be
I,
there in
I
Vegas.
really like the Race Expo. I think that. Do you mind if I touch on that?
Absolutely, please do.
Anyone that's just looking for other revenue streams, especially when it comes in waste, there's more than just dumpsters, right? You're really looking to take your business to the next level. I think that would really spark your interest. Just seeing the new technology out there as far as what people are doing in waste management, going through the webinars. I mean, I'm sorry, the multiple seminars that they offer from some really top level executive. I'm talking about people that are running ninth. I'm sorry, 9 locations, third, fourth generation waste haulers. Some of them might be mafiaed up. I'm just assuming if you hear some of the conversations I've heard.
Mm.
But anyway, it's very interesting and it's very humbling, right? I mean, it don't matter where you're at. There's always someone bigger, badder, and better than you, and it was extremely humbling, and it really really just got me excited to really step up my game, right? Not only in the software side of things, but also when I own my own little waste hauling business myself. So I've learned a lot, and I think everyone could benefit from it. But you
Mhm.
got to go in the right mindset. If you're going there just to go look at a bunch of stuff and not talk to people, stay home, save your money, right? You just like Josh said, you need to go out there and network, talk to people, ask them where they're located at, look at their name tag,
Mhm.
and really just drill down deep and really build on those connections. People you can lean on.
That's how all these events are. It's like you've got to go in with the right mindset. You've got to go in with a mindset of like I'm here to make friends. I'm here to make connections. I'm not here for anything else. Anything else is just bonus, right? Everything else is bonus. Education, contacts with vendors, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, like the connections are worth are priceless.
Yep, absolutely.
Finishing up,
It's
CVA.
one little nugget you
Go for it.
won.
What was that?
I was saying if you just took one little nugget, you won, right?
Absolutely.
That one little nugget's sometimes a game changer for you.
Pays for the price of admission.
Yep.
So just like Pedro said, the little nugget, CVA Dumpsters, thanks for the shout out, brother. I appreciate it. Frankie, again, great content. Any other things you want to end up? Anything you want to say before we sign off?
Nope. Again, I said in the beginning of the call, I'll say it again. Contacts make contracts. If you take anything from this webinar, get outside your comfort zone, network. It don't matter if it's DRSCon, Waste Expo. More importantly, focus on your local community, network. Think outside the box. Like, don't worry about what everyone's doing. Think about the things that they aren't doing. Get outside your comfort zone. Come up with a plan, and more importantly, execute on your plan.
Don't forget the Lone Star Dumpster Showcase will be in November. We don't know a date yet, but we'll be
Yeah,
releasing it
yeah.
shortly.
Don't start
That's a
dumpsters.
new one. We're the new guys on the block, but but yeah. Anyways, guys, with that, we appreciate you guys. Say again.
I said no. I heard great things from people who attended, and again, I'm sorry, my team all got rampant of COVID. So, but I'll definitely be attending next year. Had every intention last time, and I look forward to it as well.
Yeah, man.
Josh, I just want to say thanks for having me on board. Anyone listening, thanks for listening. I've been up since 5 a.m. Probably should have drunk another Red Bull, but hopefully I gave you some insight on things that you can do to help promote you. And for those who aren't following Josh, you should definitely follow him. This guy's a serial entrepreneur. He's helped a lot of people become successful. and he's a great person that you can add to your network. If you haven't yet, you can start with him today.
I appreciate you, man. I think the value of our relationship, our friendship over the years is invaluable. And dude, I really appreciate you what you've done for the industry, and I can't wait to see what comes next. So I will see you in a couple weeks up in down in Nashville or up in Nashville. So we'll see you soon. Later, guys.
Thanks,
Don't forget to
man.
like, subscribe, smash the notification bell. Adios.
Later.